FM.
Welcome to another episode of Disability Live podcast, and I'm joined by Kieran Green. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Peter.
So you've got cerebral palsy. That's the main problem. Tell me a bit about your own life growing up.
Yeah, so I've got cerebral palsy. For me, it affects the left side of my body, and I always had the attitude of, do you know what? I was the only one in my family with a disability, so whatever my siblings, my friends were doing, I'd try and do exactly the same thing. And I had the attitude of, do you know what? If I want to do something, I'm going to do it, whether I have to change it a little bit to make sure I can, but yeah, make sure I can do whatever I want to achieve.
Yeah. And how premature were you?
So I was born at 29 weeks, so I was 11 weeks early.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So you must have been quite small.
Yeah, I think from what I can remember, my parents told me I weighed around £2.9, and when I was in my dad's hand, if you like, my head was at the top of his hand and my legs were just off the bottom, so I was like hand length.
That's literally how
Yeah,
well.
really, yeah, really small. I was like hand length.
Yeah.
You know the kits
Yeah.
that you get stuck in the car? One of them fit over my body apparently.
Oh.
Yeah, really small.
Yeah. And so, well, were you born around here at Lancing?
So I lived in Southwick
Oh.
and Brighton and the surrounding areas, and I've lived in South Lancing for around 10 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
Quite nice round here, isn't it?
It's not too bad, yeah.
Yeah.
It's alright.
Yeah. You get the bad weather, but apart from that, it's fine. So, going on, you said the left side was more weaker, but you have sort of built up on it, haven't you?
Yeah, that's it. So I'm really lucky that I've worked really hard and I do 4 different sports at the moment at different levels. So I'm very busy.
Very busy.
But yeah, through going to the gym and stuff, I make sure that I work just as hard on my left side. Maybe not more, maybe even harder on my left side to make sure that it balances out with the right.
So how did all that start? Was it school days, college days that you started to fit up?
Yeah,
How did it all start?
It first started when I was 7, to be honest, because I started playing football for people with disabilities, and back then it was Albion Community, so now it's called Albion Foundation, but I started playing football just there, and then when I all the way through school I was playing football, and then when I was going to leave school, my football manager back at the time said to me, do you want to do an apprenticeship? What was I doing after school? So I did that, and it was in disability sports coaching. So I was doing a little bit of admin work and a little bit of college work, and then I was going out and learning how to do disability sport coaching. And that's really, to be honest, when I got the bug. So I went from there, finished my apprenticeship, got lots of different qualifications along the way, but then they offered me a part-time job, and then from that I then got offered a full-time job in working for Brighton of Albion and disability sport. And then just recently, so maybe around a year ago, I moved on to work for WBC Cares UK, and I'm now the adaptive boxing program lead, as well as training myself and competing. So yeah, I'd like to keep myself busy.
So you must have been a sporting lad from about a young age then?
Yeah, definitely. So all my, my whole family, my brothers, my sister, my mum, my dad, we all love sport. So it's sport all the way through.
So what was the first sport you took part in? Was it through school or was it through your family sort of spurring you on?
I'd say it was a bit of both. Like, my siblings really enjoyed football, so I thought, how can I get involved in football? And then from there we were just, as kids do, playing football every evening and getting muddy.
And how old are you now?
I'm 28 now.
Oh, okay, so because I was just thinking back on the day that there may not have been many opportunities for disabled kids to get into sport.
Definitely.
What was it like for you trying to get into there weren't any back in the 90s, I don't think.
Yeah, so it's been, like I said, still is less opportunity.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, there was, so my mum typed in, disability football in Sussex, and it come up with the Albion. But like you say, the opportunity is so thin and far between that when there is something, we need to take it. Hence, whatever we can do. So now I've sort of been lucky with my progression through sport, and then now within the adaptive boxing that I do as a job, I've been given so much from other people in sport, my friends and my family, that if I can help create opportunities for people to access more sport, then yeah, that's what we're going to do.
You've done your job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Have you faced any challenges or difficulties throughout your life? School what was that mainstream school you went to? Disabled school?
Yeah, so I went to a mainstream school, and actually that's a pretty big one, when it was just people's perceptions really. So I was one of the only people at the time that had a disability in the school, and they had like a learning support area, and they used to say to me, as much as it wasn't their fault, they used to say to me, it's PE time, do you want to go and work on a computer? And I was like, the way I was, my family, my background, I was like, you know what, I'm going to play rugby, I'm going to get in the bottom of the scrum, I'm going to do everything everyone wants, everything I want to do. And then, once we started to break things down a little bit and change the idea behind, if I fall over, that's fine, I'll get back up the same as everybody else,
And so, because obviously you walked in here walking, so as a kid, were you like this about walking as well?
Yeah, so I've always been ambulant, cerebral palsy, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I just prefer to sit down, walking.
Yeah, save the leg.
Walking day away, in my opinion.
Exactly, save the leg, why not?
And so football was your first sport.
Yeah.
And then what was your next one? Boxing, rugby, or basketball?
Ooh.
What came next?
The next one was probably, the next one was basketball.
Basketball. And how did you get into that one?
So I started playing basketball when I was around 18, so about 10 years ago. And that come through my apprenticeship, to be honest. So I was on my apprenticeship at work, and someone I was working with at the time said, have you ever played wheelchair basketball? And I said, no, I don't really like basketball, it's not up there on my list. And he said, no, but have you played wheelchair basketball? And I said, no. Anyway, he kept on, and he was actually the coach of a wheelchair basketball team. And he said to me, come on, he said, I'm going to pick you up, and you're going to come with me. I said, all right. He called me out, went with him. Yeah, as soon as I got in that wheelchair, I was like, you know what, I love this. So I've been going at it ever since, and now playing National League wheelchair basketball.
With what team?
At the moment, I play for a team called Woking Blackhawks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've heard of a certain team in Southampton, Shannon Sharks.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They do quite well. So, and then rugby, I'm assuming was that's because boxing's quite well done for you, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. So I then got into, like I say, I got into rugby, and I play for, I'm actually the captain, lucky enough to be the captain of Crawley Jets, wheelchair rugby.
Yeah.
So they are associated with Crawley rugby team, and we've actually got a tournament on the weekend in Sunderland. So it's a fair old trip.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
And then tell me what boxing, because I've not heard of this sport before, and it's quite relatively new, isn't it?
Yeah. So the adaptive boxing is something that we've started up. It's sort of a brand new initiative, and we're at the stage where we're writing rules, regulations, we're writing all the policies behind it, and actually we're creating the opportunity for people. So Scott will be with us a little bit later. He's my boss, and he come to me and he said, what you guys do is amazing, but there's no opportunity for people with disabilities to get involved in boxing. And then with my background, he said, can you come on board and support me? So I first started just going along, I was still working at Brighton at the time, and I was just boxing. So I was adapting and changing everything that the professionals were doing so that I could train too. So I was training with the professionals, and I compete and train myself from a wheelchair. And then after about, I say a year ago, he asked me to come on board full time and then lead the program for him. So what we've got now, currently we've got lots of different areas within adaptive boxing. So we created it really just to break down them barriers for people with a disability, whether they want to train for fitness and fun, whether they want to train to compete, whether they want to actually have a competitive bout. It's for anybody. Not everybody has to have a competitive bout, but there's a pathway leading up to competitive bouts. So we've got, one-to-one. We can have people come in for one-to-one sessions. We have small group sessions. We go into schools and do lessons. We go in and do community stuff, as well as our elite pathway. And we're hoping to take it to the Paralympic Games one day.
That'll be a long way.
Yeah.
I've known some sports I haven't even got into the LA one, so there's a lot of barriers to get through to get to even 32 or.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's achievable.
That's it. So we'll definitely get there, and we'll build our way up. We know what we've got to do, so we can achieve that.
And is it just cerebral palsy at the moment, or is it any disability?
Yeah, so at the moment it's, like I say, we've got inclusive sessions. So what we've got, say Tuesday night is our adaptive coaching night.
Okay.
And we have lots of different classes. So we do online classes, we do a class for people that have a disability that want to box from standing up. We have a class for wheelchair users, and we also have community classes for people with Parkinson's as well.
Oh.
So any type of ability or disability we can cater for.
So going back a bit, so you got into football and you did, I don't know, do you still do that?
Yeah, so I still do that.
Yeah.
So I was when I was working at Brighton, it was I was tasked with, can I create a team? So I actually helped set up the Cerebral Palsy National League football team, and now we play.
Oh, you've got a player called Ross Young, haven't you?
That's it.
Yeah.
So I know Rossi. Yeah, so I still play with them now. Although I've changed my job, I still go back and play with them.
Okay, that's
And play and train. Yeah, I know.
You playing the Premier League for them?
Yes, hopefully, huh? One day, yeah.
Oh, so it's not there.
No, so
okay.
we've got a team in the National Cerebral Palsy Football League.
So some sort of championship level kind of thing.
So it's the top league for people with cerebral palsy to be able to play across the nation.
Oh.
Yeah. So we play against teams like Chelsea, West Brom, loads of Southampton have got a team, and it is getting bigger and bigger as we build.
And with basketball, motorball, as it's sometimes known, especially to people's chairs. What was it? So with that, how do you fit it all in? All these four sports. I mean, there must be all. You must have customer issues where they've been on the same day, same time.
Yeah.
Which one do I choose?
Everybody asks me that as well. So luckily for me, I've sort of, I started with the football, and then I thought, I've got a little bit of extra time. That team trained on a Friday, so I'm able to do that. And then I started another one, but it's very rarely do they clash, which is, it's really lucky. So I train a different sport each night of the week, and then at the weekends, when the fixtures are on, that's when I really have to look at the calendar and think, sometimes I very rarely have a weekend off. Yeah. When I do, I make the most of it. Yeah?
So when you say you've got one every night, that just leaves one night free, didn't it?
Yeah. So at the moment, I do football on a Monday.
Okay.
I do my boxing coaching on a Tuesday.
Okay.
On a Wednesday, I do rugby. On a Thursday, I'm free. And then on a Friday, I do some basketball.
And then weekend,
Weekend is fixtures, yeah. And luckily for me, with the boxing, as well as my coaching, like my training, I fit my training in throughout the day around my work. So I make sure that I train every day in strength and boxing as well.
And you've got a full-time job as well with that as well?
Yeah, that's it.
Is that a 9 to 5 job or ordinary job?
It's a full-time job. Sometimes, like when I'm coaching in the evening, that's extra, so I'll start a little later. So it's not 9 till 5, but it is, full-time.
Fair.
But if I love what I do, then...
So throughout school and college and all that, you kept on doing your football, you kept doing all that. So how was it with you with secondary school? How was it? Because obviously another level higher at GCSE, people, for some reason, there's always this thing where people think it's okay to sort of bully or intimidate.
Yeah.
How was it for you? Was it alright?
Yeah, in all honesty, for me, it was, I was always very open with people and they could see, they knew, all my friends, and they knew I had cerebral palsy, and it was one of them, they treated me no different. So I was really lucky, to be honest, that I didn't have any bullying. It was actually sometimes the teachers that weren't really aware of my disability, so they were unsure of how they can support. So they were trying to support me and help me, but sometimes they were holding me back. And then it's when my friends would be like, no miss, no sir, he can do this. And then, so I was really lucky, but that's what I'm aware of, some of the stuff that goes on, hence now trying to promote disability sport and increase, awareness.
Is there any other sports that you wish you might take up again?
No, I didn't.
Have you tried bocce in the past?
I've tried, so I used to, when I was working at Brighton, I used to actually coach bocce.
Oh.
So I used to do, only community sessions, but I used to do a little bit of bocce, so that was always pretty enjoyable. But I never competed in bocce, no.
So it's fun for you, is it, or?
I don't know, probably because I didn't have much time, to fit any more in. But one that I do really want to try is sledge hockey. Have you heard of that?
I haven't, no.
No.
I've heard of power ice hockey.
That's
I
it.
did one with someone else the week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So sledge hockey is like ice hockey, but for people with disability.
Oh, okay.
So that looks pretty cool with the shoulder pads on and the sledge and it's something great fun.
You're never not busy, are you?
No, definitely not. I really enjoy it.
No,
Really enjoy it.
So why force? So why football, basketball, rugby, boxing? Why just sort of follow the other, or did you just choose? I want to do that one, that one, that one.
Yeah, to be honest, it's sort of just, if you like, everything that I've done in my journey through sport is just falling into place for me. I've worked hard, but I've almost been lucky at the same time. Like, some people don't get opportunities that have come my way. And so I started with the football, and then it happened that I was on my apprenticeship, and then the basketball happened, and then I met somebody that was doing the rugby, and they said, can you come and try the rugby? I said yeah, and then I was approached for the boxing. So it's sort of, it's all come towards me, and I've taken every opportunity possible, and sort of let it lead me really, and see where it goes.
I should be quite on the kitchen. It should be, and it's not. And are they all quite local to you, all the training stuff and everything?
So my basketball is in Woking.
Okay.
My football is just in Lancing here, so we train in Lancing. My rugby is in Crawley, and then my boxing gym is in Hove.
Okay.
Yeah, just by the King Alfred Leisure Centre.
So it's all.
Yeah, it's all within sort of Sussex area.
So when you're looking at your fixture weekend, you've got, for example, Sunderland, and then you've got one in Cornwall, for example.
Yeah.
You were saying, how do you, I can't make that one, so how do you do it?
So...
I was just going, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Just go lie down on that.
That's it.
How do you do it?
Luckily for me, there's very few clashes. Like, you know, it's really worked out in my favour regularly. But when there has been 1 or 2 times when I've had, say, basketball and rugby on the same day, and actually, like a few weeks ago, I had a rugby tournament in London, and then I had a basketball game also in London. So what I did is I went to rugby for the morning, and then I said I'm going to go over to basketball. So I left rugby, you know, midday, and then went over to play my basketball game in the afternoon.
Oh, so you're there for, so are both of that events all day?
So the rugby is usually sort of a tournament rather than a match.
Okay.
So we have regular tournaments throughout the season.
Okay.
So we have, say, 3, 4, 5 games throughout the day. So I said to them, look, I'll play the first 3 games with the rugby, and then I'll go over to my basketball game, because basketball is like, you know, fixtures are just 1 game each fixture day. So yeah, but what I would usually do is, because I've been playing basketball for longer, I would say prioritise the basketball over the rugby, unless it was a massive game or massive fixture. But
so everyone goes, not again, you haven't made them.
yeah, but that doesn't happen very often. So thankfully, yeah.
And then so the boxing is never on a weekend then?
The boxing.
But yeah.
Yeah. So what happens with the boxing is so I can train, and I do train every day, Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
So whenever I can fit it in around my work. But we've set it so the classes that I coach are on a Tuesday evening.
Oh, so that's the competition / team.
Yeah, so that's our community classes.
Okay, alright. I just thought it was training.
No, so that's our community classes.
Okay.
And then we have, you know, lots of different opportunities for people. And then if we have a boxing show, that might be on a Saturday evening or you know, a Friday evening or a Saturday evening. But as the sport grows, like I say, I compete myself for the gym and then potentially for the country.
Yeah.
So as the sport grows, we're doing more and more shows around the country. So it may be that because the boxing is my full-time job, and it's, you know, I'm growing a whole brand new sport for people, not just myself. It's, if we've got a boxing show in, I don't know, Scotland, then I'll travel to Scotland. If there's any games, then that will take a little back seat for me.
And is your left side now balanced with your right?
Yeah, so when I first, actually the boxing has really helped me with this, because when I first started with Scott, he was newer to disability as well, so together we've worked together, and I always like I give him examples and work with him and show him, and he said to me, look, if we work, he's put me on a fitness plan, so now I've got, you know, strength and conditioning coach and lots of different aspects, and we've been working on it to really build up my left side. So before I met Scott, my left side was noticeably weaker with the cerebral palsy, and now luckily it's part of my role is to, you know, go to the gym and build myself up and stay active. So I've been able to bulk up my left side a little bit and sort of balance it out in strength and power.
So before you were a bit like that way.
Yeah.
Oh.
So now I'm sort of level. So what it is with the boxing, everything is kept away from the head a little bit more, so we've got that safer aspect. So we catch the shots in front of us, we block the shots here, and we teach defence first. So if you can defend yourself, then we teach the punches, and it's not about knockouts. So what it is about, it's about the skill level, you know, the defences, how you move around. It's really is a highly skilled and fast-paced sport. And
you're going to need the mind space for it to get all the terminology and how to. So, but how do you look someone up? Obviously, in boxing it's KO, but obviously if you're doing a show, you can't really.
Yeah. So what we do is there's the way it works is there's 3 angles of legal fighting, or I say fighting, legal boxing. So you can box them straight on, and luckily for me, I've got long arms, so I'm quite comfortable to sit straight on. And then we've got specially designed wheelchairs for adaptive boxing that we've had designed, and they've got three sides to them. So we've got the front and then 2 angles. And then what happens, if you come down the side, we can, compete from here, so you can get a little bit closer. And then if you come down this side, you can throw with the other hand. So rather than say standard boxing or stand-up boxing, we have southpaw and orthodox. Actually, in a wheelchair, there is no southpaw and orthodox. So if you come to this side, you lead with your right. If you come to this side, you lead with your left. And if you're front on, you can lead with either hand.
And how do you win?
So you win by, again, if a punch lands on the target area, then you get points. But
so your target area is face
and body.
Okay.
But you also, because we're not going for the knockouts in the wheelchair game at the moment, it's scored on effective defences. So actually, if you're showing good defences and you're blocking the shots with your arms and your hands, and you're defending well, then that will go in your favour towards points. And also, if you're throwing shots, moving, getting out of range, changing your angle, your chair movement will also go towards you as well. And the referee, if we're sat in a wheelchair and sat back like this and not throwing any punches, they might say, come on, let's go to work, sort of thing.
And is it a regular standard boxing ring, or is it slightly bigger?
Yeah, so we're using standard boxing rings, and again, we're making rules, regulations, everything that we're designing at the moment is going towards the sport within.
And there's some process and
yeah, that's it. So even towards, if you like, classification. So as you know, every sport has a classification, and when it comes to disability sport and classification, it can be a touchy subject.
It is.
So we need to make sure that everything, from my experience and my knowledge, as well as Scott's support, everything is going to be in place, down to weight categories, classification, how we do weigh-ins, everything that we can think about.
Yeah. So was that that good awful thing where boxers have to get into hot water in the bath and then get out, wrap towels around them, and get into bed and get even more hotter?
That's it, cut the weight. So
I can't.
No, thankfully, like you say, there's lots of weight divisions within standard boxing.
Yes.
And we're going to use standard boxing weight divisions. But when it comes to weigh-ins, we're going to have accessible ride on or sit on scales.
Yes.
So, and then we're going to weigh in, hopefully, in our boxing chair.
Yeah.
And then the weight of the
and then
chair.
weigh yourself, and then
that's it. So when it comes to competition, all of our wheelchairs for the set official competition will be made by the same company, and they'll all be the same weight. So it'll all be uniform and
cool. And let's go through the so with rugby, is it CP rugby team?
No, so it's a mixed rugby team, yeah. So again, within classification, we play a certain amount of points on the court.
And what's the difference between normal rugby
and wheelchair rugby?
Different between normal rugby leagues on TV and.
Okay, so what we've got is the idea of wheelchair rugby, the one they call murder ball as well. It's now gone to wheelchair rugby fives. So I play wheelchair rugby fives. There is, I don't know if you've seen it, the Paralympic classification is wheelchair rugby fours.
Yeah.
So people that don't classify for the fours game, they've made a new version which is fives. And to play fives, you have to have a physical disability. And then, the aim of the game, it's played on a basketball court. You can hit the wheelchair as hard as you like. as
Which
long
is why
as
most people play it.
yeah, as long as you don't hit them behind the behind their axle pin. So from the back, if you hit them in the front, you can hit them as hard as you like.
Yeah.
And there's different rules within it, but the idea is get the ball over the line, or get two of your caster wheels, any two of your wheels over the line to score a try.
Mm. And football, I'm sure football's the same. Football's the same rules and everything.
Yeah, so cerebral palsy football is what I play,
Yeah.
and it's played on it's 7-a-side. The only real difference for cerebral palsy football to mainstream football is that there's no offsides. Yeah, so
That makes it.
Yeah, 7-a-side.
No VAR, no waiting 5 minutes for a decision.
That's it. Yeah, 7-a-side, no offsides, and when it comes to throw-ins, everybody, again, disability sport has got a classification. So you can either throw it in as a standard throw-in, or you can roll the ball in, depending on how you feel.
Yeah. And obviously it's not a full-size pitch.
No, it's a 7-a-side, or actually it's a 9-a-side pitch, but with 7 players. So it's like you've got the football pitch. Imagine that a full-size pitch is shrunk to the edge of the penalty box.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like shrunk that way a little bit.
So it's like a kids' Sunday football kind of.
Similar, yeah. Imagine it as a 9-a-side football pitch with 7 players. That's the way it is.
Yeah. Because you'd be exhausted going up and down.
Oh, yeah. I do one run and think, yeah, do you know what? So luckily I'm a defender.
Yeah.
So I can stay in the middle now and I can say, shuffle right, shuffle left.
Are you midfielder or?
I play as a defender.
Defender.
Yeah.
Well, is that because of taller than everyone else? Or?
I don't know, I quite like a nice, hence the boxing and the rugby, I quite like the physical side, so I can make...
Tough to you're going down.
I can make a tackle and then clear it and, yeah, great
Fair
fun.
enough.
Yeah.
And, so what position are you in basketball then?
So in basketball I play as a forward.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the one that does the scoring. I sit slightly higher in my basketball wheelchair, and sometimes I play as a ball handling forward, so I might swap to a point guard and then rotate to a forward. It really depends what our tactics are for the game.
And then rugby?
So rugby, we don't really have positions in rugby, so how it works is there's 2 different types of chairs. There's an attack chair and a defence chair. So people that tend to be slightly slower and like the defensive side of the game, there's like a pick bar on the front of the wheelchair, so they can sort of lock people up with their pick bar, and then the people in the attack chair can then work, carry the ball, and they've got a rounded front so they can bounce off people and do the scoring.
And where were you in that?
So I play an attack chair.
Oh, because I was thinking maybe I could just switch during games or...
Yeah, I mean, it's quite often like it's the same with most disability sports. So my basketball chair is made for me, my boxing chair is made for me, and the rugby chair, I don't actually have my own rugby chair at the moment. I use a club chair, but I've got one that's really suited to me.
Oh,
so, once we're in them chairs, once we've got used to playing a certain role, we do stick to that role.
They must have cost a lot of money, those chairs.
Yeah, so my basketball chair cost around £5,000. And then, just like I say, we've got new boxing wheelchairs. So thankfully there's a few different types. So we have our training chair, the one that's for multi-use, for people to try it, try the sport, all different sizes. That costs around £500 each. And then the one that I've got, I call it my fight chair, is the one that I compete in. That costs around £7,000. But that's brand new, made to measure for me, and I've been lucky. I've now had 5 fights. And to be able to, it's so light, it moves so well, and it becomes part of your body really. So my wheels, them.
And how big is your house?
Yeah.
So just show in the wardrobe somewhere.
That's it.
Wow.
Worry about that in the morning. So I've got
Yeah, do you just have a different room that's just a chair room?
Yeah, at the moment I've got my basketball chair is at my house.
Okay.
My rugby chair is, we have like a trailer at the rugby club, so that's all in there. And then my boxing wheelchair is at the boxing gym. So the only one I actually have at my house is my basketball chair. But like I say, I need a room. It's getting bigger and bigger. Every sport that I'm doing, I want to.
And have you got a chair for every day, or do you just walk everywhere?
Yeah. So at the moment, I don't use a wheelchair every day. So I just walk.
You're lucky.
Yeah, I walk around. But like I say, playing football, I play standing up, running around. And then my basketball, boxing and rugby, that's when I use a wheelchair for them 3 sports. So I get a nice mixture. My attitude is, you know what? Use my legs while they're working. Because I could quite happily sit down in a day chair now and be very comfortable.
Yeah.
But actually, if I keep moving for as long as I can, keep active, keep going to the gym, keep building up, then it's going to prolong the use of my legs.
Yeah, so that will become a point eventually where your legs start working.
Yeah, so I think naturally, as you probably know, cerebral palsy, you know, your muscles tighten up and becomes harder. But my attitude is, like I say, go to the gym, keep yourself moving, because use it while I've got it, basically. That's what I think.
And how many more years do you think you've got left before you probably need to cut down the sport?
Yeah, do you know what? I don't know. Like I say, the football now, I'm still playing the football, but then I've got the backup of the wheelchair sports. And my surgeon actually said to me, you know, I'm stubborn but in a good way. He said to me, if you don't start using a wheelchair, he said, in a nice way, he said, you're not going to walk for many more years. And my attitude was, do you know what? I'm going to show you that I will. And you know, that was maybe 12 years ago, and I'm still walking around now, so yeah. That's it, keep going while we got it, eh?
Probably a good way to go.
Yeah.
And what advice or tips would you give to young cerebral palsy people that want to become athletes or sport, or just trying to get through school at the moment? What would you say to them?
Or I'd probably say just go into things with an open mind. Okay, your body might move slightly differently, but have the attitude of, I'm going to give this a go. Yeah, if it works, brilliant. If it doesn't work, how could I change it a little bit to make sure that I can still get involved as well? Because most things now can be adapted to make sure that you can get involved. So if you can have an open attitude, open mind, just think, do you know what, I'm not going to give up, I'm going to have a go and see where it takes me. Because since I've been really young, I thought, like I said to you earlier, I'm going to try this, I'm going to do this and see where it goes, and actually it's led me in good stead and I'm doing okay.
And any general advice away from school?
I'd say, as long as you keep don't neglect yourself. So sometimes people can get so caught up in what's going on and, I can't do this, I can't do that. But actually, if you keep yourself active as you can, if you keep yourself moving, one, it helped me personally, and it helps everybody to stay as mobile as they can. But also, it's so good, a bit of sport and activity, and just, even if you see friends, just seeing friends, socialising, so good for the brain, yeah, so good for the mind. It just keeps you fresh and believing you can achieve. That's what I think.
And when are you going to sort of relax and retire from it? You've got a plan in place. Obviously, football. Obviously, normally I'm 35 and normally football.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works for you.
No, I don't know really. Like at the moment, I don't have sort of a plan in place for my sport retirement. But what I am doing is football's now because I've coached it for years, I love watching it and playing it. It's in the brain, and my legs are, if you like, tightening up slowly. So I'm thinking I need to hang up the boots and just coach and support and watch. But for me, actually, when I get there, I'm like, I love this. You know, a few times I thought, right, I'm going to go today, I'm just going to coach the team, support.
And then you end up getting it.
Well, I end up with a kit on, and I look at my manager and say, I've done it again. You know, I love it. So, but I think football will be the first one that I really do end up have to, you know, hang the boots up.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to my other sports, so later down the line, again, I'll be using a wheelchair, so I'll be able to play them and take part in everything.
Yeah, because it'd be easy, because you just stand in a chair and just do all that, like that.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, but walking and running and doing all that takes its toll rather than just sitting down.
Definitely.
So,
yeah, but I'm going to keep, you know, as you say, keep going for as long as you can. And unfortunately, if and when that day finally comes, it'll be a horrible day, it'll be a sad day. But I've then got my wheelchair sports that are equally just as good, just as fit, just as active.
And did you ever have that sort of mind of maybe I want to be a manager, maybe I want to be coaching football? Do you want to become manager of Brighton one day?
Yeah, so actually, like the first team that play in the Premier League, I support Brighton, so I'm a big Brighton fan.
Yeah,
and when I was working for Albion Community, or now it's called Brighton Hove Albion Foundation, when I was working with them, I was coaching disability sport. So for me, when I set up the Cerebral Palsy team, I was actually coaching it and playing. So that was me then coaching a Brighton Hove Albion disability team. Yeah. So once I stop playing myself, then I'll just go into the coaching role. But
so you don't want to be manager?
I don't think I'd be able to have the managerial skills just yet, but we'll keep working and see where we get to.
Yeah. Well, we're going to stop on then whenever Scott gets in.
Okay.
Then.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Mate, that was lovely. Thank you very much. Was that okay for
I'm
you?
going to stop this so I've got a bit more space.
Yeah, are you going to chop it?
Voice. Let's go. Voice FM.